Alright, you guys, welcome back to some more. Please be happy. I ended off on this cliffhanger. Now, this is a decision where we can choose to try and make something work out between us and Aspen, or we can say that I don't think I can do it. And I believe that will just be an ending where we're more friends than anything else. But I'd like to try to work things out with Aspen, and then we can see what it would be like if we were just friends instead.
I want to try things with Aspen.
I think we've had a lot of great experiences with Aspen, and she just had the courage to confess to us, so I think we should return the feelings.
I know it'll be hard, but I want to try.
Yeah, clearly Miho is very inexperienced with love, and this is going to be something that she probably will feel very unsure about, but it sounds like she's willing to give it a try, so we should do that. Feel more sure of the words as I say them, something about this decision feels right. I do want to try. Like Aspen said yesterday, it's out there and I can't take it back.
I know she's a human, and so someday it'll hurt. But I can't just always run away from things that are painful, because if it hurts, that means it was important, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That's a wise way to think about it.
I know I don't know much about love, or how to be in love with someone. But I'm willing to learn, and try.
As I speak, I feel something stir in my heart. That feeling of excitement that's pushed me forward so many times before kept me motivated in my lifelong search. Is that the feeling that could grow? I've always struggled to put a name to it. Could it be?
Trying is all anyone could ask of you, Aspen or otherwise. All you have to do is be yourself. That's who Aspen fell in love with, after all.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how happy I am. For both of you.
I'm really excited to see the moment, like, Miho ends up confessing her feelings back, I guess, and saying that she wants to, like, accept her feelings and try to see where things go. This begins to sink in. I feel a grin spreading across my face. Aspen is in love with me, and I think that maybe, just maybe, I could be in love with her too.
Thanks. I wish she was here, so I could tell her right now. Tomorrow seems so far away.
I'm certain she's thinking the same thing. Still, it is rather like her to say something so momentous and then disappear. It took quite a while for her to work up the courage to tell you.
With a wink, Juliet lifts her teacup.
I wouldn't be surprised if she borrowed the idea from some book or another.
Yeah, that's a good point. She probably did.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You would think someone who reads so many books, especially ones that might have romance in them, that you'd be pretty good at confessing. Certainly a unique confession, right as she's about to leave. It made it seem like something bad was gonna happen. Like she's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna ever return" or something, you know?
And wait.
Oops.
You knew she was gonna tell me?
Not exactly. I've known for a long time that she held feelings for you. She never told me outright, but Aspen isn't particularly subtle.
Fair enough.
I never noticed. But I guess I don't know what I would have been looking for either.
All that's important is that she was able to tell you how she felt, and you were able to accept those feelings. Anything along the way was but a means to the same end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Miho is willing to accept her feelings and kind of try to return them. I'd feel really bad, and I'm curious to see how the other option would end up going if she decides, like, I can't return those feelings and maybe she just wants to be friends. I think it'll still be kind of a happy ending, too. I mean, Aspen did say that she would be okay with just being friends, and if this is, like, too much, we don't have to go through with it. She said that kind of as she was leaving, but I don't know. It's going to be hard after seeing this, and I'm assuming things are going to work out great, and they're going to be in love. So it's going to be really hard going from that and then seeing an ending where they, like, kind of don't have that happen. I guess I'm not looking forward to it as much now that I'm getting into this and I'm, like, building up excitement for it, you know? Juliet's right, not just about Aspen, but about my life in general, as she herself pointed out not that long ago. I thought it had all been for nothing, pointless ever since Jeong-in died without my knowing it, and as I'd reached a dead end myself, but it was just the end of a chapter in my life, not the whole story, as Aspen would say. That's another good point. I wonder if we're going to learn anything more about Jeong-in as we go through these endings. I had thought my life as I knew it was ending, and maybe that was true. On the other hand, I feel like a new life for myself is just beginning, one that isn't so solitary and lonesome. Nearly every day I discover something new about myself. Things I used to think were impossible, at least for someone like me. Maybe I'm not so different after all. I found a new place to belong, and someone new to share my life with as much as I can. Aspen, who's seen just as many different sides of me as I have of her, and who still chose to tell me she loved me, even though she'd never told anyone that before. I can't wait for her to get back, so we can find out what's next together. With nothing more to talk, or nothing really more to say about it until Aspen returns, Juliet and I move on to talking about other things, like the library and recent events. I feel pleasantly warm, like I'm glowing as we sit there and chat. That sensation carries me for the rest of the evening and all the way to bed, where I lie for hours. Usually I'm frustrated when the chaos of my own thoughts stops me from falling asleep, but for the first time ever, excitement rather than fear is what keeps me awake. Instead of just waiting for the day to end, I close my eyes, looking forward to the dawn of tomorrow. I will definitely say that is a feeling that is quite common, at least for me, when it comes to being in love. It does keep you awake. It is very exciting. It's something that kind of consumes your thoughts. For once, my struggle to fall asleep worked out in my favor. I sleep until later than usual the next morning, meaning I don't have to wait as long for Aspen's bus to arrive. I've barely even woken up and I'm already thinking about her. Looking up at the ceiling, I can't help but smile. I wonder if she's thinking about me too. I think it's very interesting that once we made that decision, she kind of just realized that, yeah, I am in love with her. I think she, as she talked to Juliet about it and was kind of discovering, she was putting, how do I describe this? She was putting her feelings and emotions towards something. So she kind of realized what it means to be in love. And I think she realized that some of the things she was feeling were love. And once she made that connection, I think she's just been excited ever since. Excuse me. I'm too full of nervous energy to stay in bed for too long, so I hop up and get ready in a hurry. In the kitchen, I figured Juliet must have already eaten, cleaned up, and gone to bed because I don't see any dishes or leftover food. To my surprise, she comes downstairs just a minute after I do.
Good morning.
Hey! I didn't wake you up, did
Excuse
I?
me. Apologize.
No, not at all. Although I was upstairs, I thought I'd wait and have breakfast with you like usual.
Oh, thanks. Sorry for keeping you waiting. I kind of fell asleep late, so I slept in too.
Understandable. I'm sure you have lots on your mind.
Yeah, I'm sure this is really fun for Julia, thinking how cute it must be. It's always nice seeing someone in love and like seeing how they kind of change and they kind of get like nervous about things that they aren't usually nervous about, you know?
You can say that again.
It's fun. It's fun to watch people fall in love sometimes. I take my seat at the table while Julia pokes through the fridge.
Are you hungry for anything in particular?
Not really. Maybe something light? I don't think I can finish a big meal right now.
Chuckling, Juliet retrieves a couple pieces of fruit and some cheese.
Butterflies in your tummy?
Nah, I haven't eaten anything. I'm just nervous.
Was she taking that literally?
I'm sure I would be too, in your position. Although, Aspen did the difficult task of taking the first step. You have the luxury of being the one to respond.
Which I think is understandable. I mean, like I've said many times already, Miho's pretty new to love, and I think that Aspen would have to be the one to kind of make the first move, and that would get Miho thinking about it, and then maybe as the relationship goes on, Miho can start taking some initiative.
That's true.
Because this will be her first relationship, you know, and they're in their 20s. I would say a lot of people have probably already been in a few relationships by then. Juliet sets a platter with slices of apples and oranges, as well as a few blocks of cheese on the table between us, and I idly munch on some fruit.
Do you want to come wait at the station with me? I'm leaving after we're done eating.
I'll pass, but thank you. The two of you have plenty to talk about on your own, I'm sure. But I imagine I'll see you both later tonight?
Definitely.
The minutes pass by agonizingly slow, especially after Juliet goes to bed, but eventually it's late enough for me to leave. I burst up out of my seat, forcing myself not to walk too fast. As long as I'm walking, I'm doing something. If I get there too early, I'll have to wait, and I hate waiting. Humming to myself, I follow the same route Aspen and I took yesterday. If I wanted to, I probably could have found a faster way or an even longer way to kill more time. It's not worth the risk of getting lost, though. The closer I get to the station, the faster my heart races. Through growing anticipation, the way I can't think about anything else, it reminds me of something I haven't experienced in ages. It reminds me of the days in the forest towards the end of my time as a regular fox, the way I felt on the way to the clearing every day to see my person. Back then it was different, of course, more instinct, less thinking, but it still pushed me forward. That was love, wasn't it? In my own way, just like Juliet said. Usually something like that would stop me in my tracks, but today it just makes me smile. My good mood carries me the rest of the way to the bus station. I paused at the intersection where we stood yesterday when Aspen said everything. The spot will be special to me forever. I already know. I hurry across to the other side. There are a handful of other people waiting, standing or leaning against the fence. I sit down on one of the empty benches, practically buzzing with anticipation. I watch the clock as it continues to tick away, until finally the scheduled minute comes and there's no bus. I sigh disappointed, but not too surprised, since when are buses ever exactly on time anyways? Soon the bus is a couple minutes late, and then 5 minutes, and it gets harder and harder not to worry.
Good thing she left early.
I notice that I'm not alone. Some of the other people waiting are beginning to get agitated too. One person stands on the edge of the sidewalk, peering in either direction. A couple of others, who have been waiting in the boarding zone since I got here, sit down on one of the benches near me and pull out their phones. One of them taps a few times, reads something, and then groans.
Told you. Delayed. Says it right here.
Guess I owe you a tenner. It say how long?
Nope. Just says delayed due to vehicle issues.
Remember when I was talking about last episode, how there might be issues because Miho talked about it happening one time. Red seizes me with a shaky hand and tap on one of the travelers on the shoulder.
Excuse me. Which bus is it that's delayed?
That be Route 4. You waiting for it too?
My friend's on it. I don't know which, but she was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Aye. Well, probably the same one then. Bad luck, but it does happen every now and then. I hope you weren't in a hurry.
I was, actually. Do you know what they'll do? What'll happen to the people on the bus?
Well, I imagine the city will have to send someone out, figure out what's wrong, fix it, or send a replacement.
Yeah, I think if it's not too far away, they'd probably just send somebody.
I'm sure your friend will get here one way or another, but it could be hours. You might want to give them a call and find out where they are. Might be quicker for them to find their own ride home.
I vault off the bench before he's even finished speaking, dashing back the way I came.
Good luck.
I barely hear him. Of all the buses to break down, of all the days for it to happen. As I run, I can't help but think about how unfair it is. For anyone else in the world, a couple-hour bus delay would be annoying, but that's it. But for me and Aspen, I don't even want to think about what it would be like if she forgot me. After getting back to the library in record time, I practically crash through the doors as I head upstairs. For the second day in a row, I knock on Juliet's bedroom door before having to bend over to catch my breath. Yeah, this is kind of what I thought they were hinting at might happen. It's been ages since I've run that long, and it shows. Juliet answers the door quickly.
Miho? What's wrong?
Aspen's bus still isn't here. Someone at the station said one of them broke down on the way. What if it was hers?
Wordlessly, Juliet hurries to retrieve her phone, looks weirdly out of place in her hands as she navigates through several screens slower than Aspen would. Her face turns grim after only reading for a
It
moment.
seems you're right.
The confirmation just tightens a knot in my chest, and I just barely manage to croak out a question.
What do we do?
How long do you have left?
2 hours. A little less.
She shouldn't be too far away. I'll try calling her.
Doesn't even ring, instead goes straight to a voicemail. I look up at Juliet helplessly, trying to ignore the panic that will overrun me if I let it.
She did say that she'd have poor reception en route. Here, Miho. Keep trying. I'll be back in a moment.
He hands me the phone and shows me how to use it before hurrying into her bedroom. I hit the button again, staring at the small contact photo of Aspen that Juliet has saved. It's a picture of Aspen at the breakfast table, smiling awkwardly. Her voicemail message starts again, so I cancel it out and try it again, and again, and again. But it's the same result every time. I end the call and start another one for what must be like the 6th or 7th time.
Juliet, is that...
My thumb is at the end of the end button out of habit, and I barely manage to stop myself from pressing it.
Aspen!
There's a loud burst of static.
You?
Aspen! It's me! Where are you?
It comes back out when she hears me. Waiting anxiously by my side, Aspen says something, but it's garbled by the connection.
What? I can't hear you!
Fucking reception. Let me...
Did she just drop an F-bomb right there? I'm sorry. Probably not a moment to laugh, but that's funny. Everything goes quiet, but for a terrible moment, I'm afraid that the call has dropped.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Instead, I nearly dropped the phone. Her voice comes through again, much clearer this time.
Good. I can't move from this spot then. It's the only place I have service.
Where are you?
God, we're so close. I can literally see the city in the distance. Something's wrong with the bus. I don't know what. They said there's another one coming to pick us up, but I'm not sure when it's supposed to be here.
I mean, I would imagine it'd get there pretty quickly if it's only that close.
We only have 2 hours before.
I know. Trust me, I know. I was hoping the replacement would be here sooner, but that's not going to happen.
I think Miho's gonna run out there. I think that's what she's gonna do.
Aspen, you said you're close. Do you know where exactly?
I don't know, but there's just the one road into the city, and I can see it. That's what I'll do, actually. I'll start walking towards the city, and hopefully I'll see the other bus on the way.
Will that work?
I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, if the city's that close, you should be able to both start walking and meet each other. Because they just need to see each other, right? I think that's all they need to do. And that way she'll not forget her. It'd be nice if the phone call worked, because technically they are talking to each other, right? Julie and I look at each other. I wonder if she has the same thought I do.
Okay. I'm coming too.
What? Coming where?
Wherever you are. You said it's just one road, right? I'll meet you on it.
You'll... Okay. I understand.
I'll be there on time. I promise.
Wasn't this romantic, having to meet each other? From the other end of the line comes the very clear sound of Aspen sniffling.
Okay. I'll see you soon. As soon as I start walking, I'll probably lose reception again. I'll try to call you when I can.
Okay. Okay, I'm on my way.
I really hope once they like fall in love, something will happen to where like they don't have to see each other all the time, you know? Because I feel like that'd be very hard to live your life without being able to be away from each other. Because I know it's romantic and stuff to think about being with someone you love every single day, but you know, there's things that happen in life, and you're going to be away from each other for a day or two, and that's okay. Hopefully, your connection's strong enough that you don't have to be together 24/7, right? The line clicks dead, and I try to hand Juliet her phone back, but she shakes her
Hold
head.
on to it. You can bring it back to me after you find her.
I nod. There's no time to talk about anything
How do
else.
I get there?
Juliet pulls up a map and shows me, pointing out where the library
I
is.
was going to try to find a taxi. Between traffic and everything else, I'm not sure it would be faster. It's so far away, though, Miho. Are you sure you'll be all right?
I mean, can she turn into a fox? I mean, imagine that's what
I
she'll
will.
do.
I have to be.
I immediately make for the stairs, pausing for just a second.
Thanks.
Thank me later. Together.
I nod and I transform as I bolt out the front door. Okay, so she is going to be in her fox form. That's what I imagined she would do. Foxes can't run as long as humans can, but they can run faster. As a Gumiho, maybe I can do both. Wind whips at my tails as I rush forward, channeling whatever willpower and determination I can into running. The map Juliet gave me showed me which roads to get out of the city, but I don't need roads. I run straight for the edge of town, dodging traffic, pedestrians, and more. Dogs bark as I race through their yards, and shocked people gape as I dash past them without paying any attention. I don't even know how long I run for. I just know that I don't stop. Even when my legs and chest start to ache, I keep going. little pain now is nothing compared to what losing Aspen would be like. Buildings begin to thin out even as traffic increases, and finally I find myself out of Wellington. Follow the road, I race towards where Aspen must be. Cars and trees fly by, replacing the buildings and street signs. There are hills and forests that I'm sure are as beautiful as everything else I've seen, but I hardly notice them at all. The longer I run, the more it starts to take its toll on me. Against my will, I can feel my speed flagging, each step taking just a little more effort than the last. I push this form to its absolute limit, and eventually, it brings me to a halt. I change forms once again, gasping for air as I place my hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. The run from the station back to the library winded me, and this was many times harder. But I can't stop moving. I have to keep going. I have to. Lungs on fire with my legs feeling like lead, I make myself take another step and then another. Mustering all my strength, I break into a jog, the fastest I can imagine. I keep my gaze set on the horizon, hoping for a glimpse of her, anything to set my heart and mind at ease. Anything. The sun begins to dip even lower, as if the sky is reminding me that time is running out. My steps are leaden, and my mind abuzz with wordless fear and worry. At first, I don't believe my eyes when I finally spot someone walking in my direction far off in the distance. Please let it be her. A steady trot is all I can do for now, and I let even that slow to a normal walking pace. The other figure and I walk towards each other, but the sun shines my face and obscures them from vision. Raising one hand to shield my eyes, I see a familiar hat, the glint of a light on familiar glasses. I see Aspen running towards me. All I can do is stand there, overwhelmed with relief, so intense that all I can do is shake. I made it. She's here.
Miho!
As she approaches, she also slows and then comes to a stop.
Miho!
I don't even know what to say. How can I respond? How can I put all the excitement, the worry, and the relief that she's made me feel in the past 24 hours into words? How do I say it? Silently, I close the distance between us. I can see her eyes searching mine, looking for an answer to the unspoken question. Overhead, the sun dips behind a cloud, done watching us for the day and throwing a handful of colors in the sky as it leaves. I've struggled to find words before, but this is different. Like Aspen said yesterday, not just any words will do. I saw it just at arm's length from Aspen, close enough to see the glint of tears hiding in her eyes.
I was so worried.
Her voice is barely a whisper, but I can't hear anything else. Looking up into her eyes, I'm surprised to find the answers to my own question. One I didn't know I wanted to ask until just now. One that requires more than words, or maybe less. Oh, they're just going straight for a kiss. We take the last step that separates us and lean forward to kiss Aspen. The marks of human affection have always seemed so strange and foreign to me, maybe even unappealing. As I kiss her, I think I understand. Without hesitation, Aspen's hand rises to touch my face, holding me in place as if I'd want to leave. She moves like she was waiting for this. Maybe she was. It's unlike anything I've ever felt before. The closeness, the warmth. I placed my own hand against her wrist. I think maybe I understand Aspen's fears better now, because I would also be content if this moment lasted forever. Even when we separate, Aspen's hands stay on my shoulder, keeping me close.
See, you thought about what I said.
And practically nothing else.
Pulling me into a hug, Aspen rests her face against
So
mine.
I wasn't the only one then.
She sighs contentedly.
There's so much more I want to say, but this is hardly the place to say it now, is it?
I'd nearly forgotten where we were. Not far from the side of the road, turning around, I look back at the city, which is starting to light up for the evening.
Oh, right. It's kind of a long way home, you know.
Aspen squeezes my hand.
I have all the time in the world.
Open-ending chapter 4. Interesting. Okay, so we're getting an Aspen ending. And then this is gonna be... Are we gonna get a little piece of an ending from each other ending? I'm confused here. My paws carry me across wet leaves and mud. Fog has crept into the forest as stealthily as me. Glimpses of the sky are rare between the trees and the mist. The wild mountains and hills are hidden as well, out of sight but not mind. I run filled by a sense of purpose. It lightens my steps and pulls me in the right direction. I'm gonna see someone I care about very much and who cares about me. Somehow we found each other, my person. The path to follow is engraved in my body and mind, almost instinctual. A warm smile, a gentle touch, a kind word. These are the things that draw me forward. I slow down as I get closer to my destination and to the silhouette waiting for me. It's impossibly bright as I approach, my heart pounding in anticipation, like the sun has descended to greet my person too. Not just a feeling in my chest warming my soul and fur. So bright that when my person turns around, stooping low to greet me, light is all I can see. But I don't need to see, only hear. That voice I can never forget.
Little fox.
Where is your home?
Oh, they're blending together. I awake with a yawn, head on my pillow as the dream fades away. It's been a long time since I've dreamt about the forest. It used to happen a lot, especially when my travels first took me out of Korea, but over time they stopped. The dreams are always the same. I'm somewhere in the woods running to the clearing where I meet Jungin. There, they'd greet me in the same familiar way. Something was different about this time, though. Of course, the first thing in my mind after my dream is Aspen, but I have a feeling that's how most of my mornings are going to start from now on. My lips tingle as I recall our kiss yesterday. My first kiss ever, the first of many, I promised Aspen. Okay, good. They're not just, like, brushing that off, because I'm like, if that's how they ended her route, if that's how they ended their happy end together, I would have been pretty disappointed. Hopefully this means they're kind of continuing it a little bit, at least. Get to a more... okay, well, not more, a less abrupt ending. There we go. Although the stressful part was over, the rest of the day was equally exhausting. By the time we got back to Aspen's bus to get her stuff, the replacement bus finally showed up and took us back to the city. From there, we dropped off Aspen's things at her apartment before going back to the library to give Juliet the good news. Legs felt like they were going to fall off, and both Aspen and I agreed to get some rest. Even the anticipation of seeing her today couldn't keep me up. I feel well rested and excited. But as I roll onto my back, I start to notice something weird. It's like an itch, but in my mind, something irritating and out of reach. And out of me? It takes me a moment, but I realize that it's my bead. I know it's the same way. I know it the same way that I knew how to run and hunt and dig. Tugging at the baubles around my neck, there's an obvious change. Of all the beads on my necklace, only one is special. Most are just pretty things I collected and stuck in there. Only one has been there with me from the moment I became a Miho, became me. Since then, it stayed exactly the same. No matter how many times I throw it, drop it, or lose it, the necklace comes back to me with the bead unharmed. Not a single scratch or chip and blemish, until today. Instead of the normal pale white, it started to shine. It's barely brighter than usual, but I noticed it in an instant. In fact, it's almost as if... I hold my necklace up to be sure.
It's glowing.
Just barely, but it is. I rub my thumb over the familiar surface, but it doesn't feel any different on the outside. Not sure what it means, but it has to be related to yesterday. There's no way it could pick today of all days to change. Maybe Aspen was onto something when she said there's no such thing as coincidence. Either way, it's magic, and magic I can't control. My bead has always been a part of me, but it's something I can only partially understand, in that wordless animal way I described Aspen. When the time comes, whatever it is that's coming, I have to trust that I'll know what to do. Right now, it doesn't matter because something much more important is going to happen, and sooner. Aspen will be here. She's probably already here, so I need to get ready. Going through my quick morning routine, I feel more energized than ever. For once, I'm not nervous, just excited. As soon as I open my bedroom door, I can hear the familiar murmur of conversation in the kitchen. Even the short walk downstairs is enough time to let my heart race. I assume Juliet's in the kitchen when I get there, but I only have eyes for Aspen. Yeah, love will do that for you. It certainly helps you to very much tunnel vision. You're like, okay, I'm in love. Nobody else in the world matters right now. Eventually that kind of fades a little bit. You're still in love, but you learn to acknowledge other people too. She looks over from her seat at the table, and the instant she sees me, her face lights up. It immediately stops me in my tracks. I've never seen Aspen smile a thousand... I've seen Aspen smile 1,000 times by now, but never like this. Never for me, and me alone. I can't help but do the same.
Good morning, Miho.
Morning.
It's our usual greeting, but it feels brand new. I wonder if all the little things will...
Did you sleep well, Miho?
Like a rock.
I pull my chair closer to Aspen's than usual as I take my seat and fill my
We were
plate.
just talking about how tired you must be. I wouldn't have been surprised if you slept until the afternoon.
No way. Then I wouldn't get to see you at breakfast.
Flustered, Aspen doesn't seem to know how to respond. Now that I know the feeling she was hiding, a lot of the other times where that's happened make way more sense. I giggle as she looks torn between being pleased and embarrassed.
That would be quite a shame, yes. But understandable after you ran across half of Wellington yesterday.
Was it really? It didn't feel like it. But maybe that's why I'm so hungry.
Miho, you're always hungry. That's
Feel
nothing
free
new.
to help yourself to what's left. Aspen and I have already eaten.
We wanted to wait, but...
It's fine. I don't mind.
Around now is usually when Aspen would start to leave for work, but it's Juliet who stands up first.
I must say, I'm rather sleepy myself. Would either of you mind if I retire a bit early today?
Nope. Aspen and I can clean up, right?
Oh, yes, right, that... I mean, not at all.
I'm glad Aspen knows what Juliet's doing. Like, oh, yeah, oh, man, I'm so tired. I'm just gonna have to leave the two of you alone. That's okay, right? You know, you guys just recently, like, confessed you love each other. You know, I don't know if you'd want to be alone or anything.
I'll wish you both good night then.
Good night.
Bye.
We both watch as Juliet departs before turning to face each other. As soon as our eyes meet, Aspen looks away again, blushing but laughing.
What is it? What's funny?
Nothing's funny. It's just... It's hard to believe. I mean, us? You and me? You can't imagine how many times I've sat at this table wishing we were like this. Together.
Oh.
That warm, fuzzy feeling from before takes over my face. The one that goes with the realization of how special I am to her. How out of everyone in the world, I'm the one she feels this way about.
And now...
Here we are.
Yes. Here we are.
Everything is the same, but everything is different now, too. It's just as confusing as it is exciting. Now that I'm here alone with her, I'm not sure how to act. Aspen fiddling with her ribbon seems like she's waiting for me to go first. Problem is, I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure how I should talk to her differently now, or if I even should, or anything really. With just the two of us here, I'm suddenly super aware of how out of my depth I am. But I can't let the silence stretch out on too long. I have to say something.
So hey!
I think...
Both of us start and stop at the same time. I pause, waiting for her to keep going, and she does the same thing for me. We both laugh together a moment later, and somehow that breaks the ice. It feels like a reassurance before I can even ask for one.
You go.
No, you first.
If that's what it takes.
I was going to say that... You know, I don't really know much about this whole dating thing. So if there's...
Aspen shakes her head and puts a finger to my lips to shush me.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Miho. It's all so new to me as well.
That's like some of the best times, though, is when you're like trying to figure out, like, how does dating work? What should we be doing? How should we be acting, you know? It's certainly different. It's exciting. It's not something I'd want to last forever, but it's exciting in the moment. She removes her hand, looking at it as if she just now realized what she did. Not that I mind.
So, perhaps we can figure it out together.
Together.
I try out the word for myself. Aspen and me together.
Yeah. I like that. We can both just... do what feels right.
I like the sound of that too.
Aspen's sleeve rustles as she takes my hand, her fingers gently intertwining with mine. It's cool to the touch.
That feels right.
Her soft actions make me feel braver.
So does this.
Yeah, I knew what was gonna happen there. Wasn't obvious at all. I leaned forward and kissed her just for a moment, because a moment may as well be an hour. I'm not sure it'd ever be enough.
I'd say we're off to a good start.
Me too.
Oh, aren't you guys cute together? Just being near each other already feels more meaningful and exciting. Since this is just the beginning, I can't wait to see where things go from here. Of course, I'll have to wait a bit longer. With her free hand, Aspen checks her phone, and I see her frown in response.
Time to go?
Unfortunately.
She stands up and I stand with her. Still linked by our hands, it feels almost unfair that daily life, with all of its obligations, still matters right now. Aspen hasn't even left yet, and I'm already waiting for her to come back.
I wish I could stay here with you longer, though.
Me too. Maybe I'll just come buy a bunch of drinks at the Bell House, so I can talk to you at the counter.
Perfect. I can tell my boss I was just engaging with the customers, like she wants us to.
Yeah, customer, sure. Both of us laugh again, and Aspen steps forward to lay her head on my shoulder. I lean my head against hers, surprised by how soft her hair is against my
I
cheek.
really will be thinking of you all day, counting down the hours.
Same. I couldn't think about anything else, even if I wanted to.
Now, I'm trying to remember, real quick. So she just talked about her bead lighting up a little bit more. You can kind of see it right now. I'm not sure if it's always been that way or if I'm just now noticing it, but it does look like it has a little bit of a shine to it. Just a little detail I thought was nice. Normally I think twice about saying something so embarrassing, but it actually feels pretty good. We walk together to the front door, taking as long as possible.
See you soon.
Not soon enough.
I stand in the doorway as Aspen slowly walks backwards, holding onto my hand until the very end. She looks into my eyes.
I love you, Miho.
The tip of her fingers linger against mine, and where they touch it feels electric. I think of the sproutling that Juliet used to describe love and the way it grows. Maybe the word means different things to Aspen and me right now, but I know without a doubt that I want to learn all of them. I want to take a chance with her. I want to try.
I love you too.
And I mean it. We stay like that just for a little longer, not needing to say anything else. And finally, Aspen turns around and begins to walk down the hill, taking my heart with her. Just like Aspen, I end up counting down the hours until her shift will be over. Too impatient to make it end, I leave early and reach the Bell House around the time that it'll be closing for the night. It's not dark out yet, but even from a distance, inside the Bell House looks warm and inviting. As I pass by the front window on my way to the door, I spot Aspen, who doesn't notice me. I will say I'm glad that this ending is going out longer than I thought. Like, I was like, I keep like holding my breath, like, oh, are they gonna end it here? Are they gonna end it there? I wasn't sure how far they were gonna go with it, so I'm glad they're going further than I thought, because I keep thinking they're gonna end it really quick, and I'm like, oh, that would be a bummer if they just ended it here. You know, there's more they could explore. She's helping one of her coworkers stack the chairs and the tables, and when they finish with that, she goes to organize the sweetener section. While she's doing that, a different coworker comes over and shows her 2 different loaves of bread, and she thinks for a moment before pointing at one. In the time it takes the other staff to complete a task, Aspen finishes 3. Even with people coming up to ask her questions, too. Of course, I have no idea what they're talking about. Even from here on the outside of the store, I can see why they want her to run the new Bell House. Leaning against the wall of the cafe, I wait. Most of Aspen's coworkers leave before she does, and it's several minutes before she walks out the door at a brisk pace, going right past me.
Aspen!
Spinning around, she quickly goes from surprise to smiling.
Miho! I was just thinking about you. Although that's been true all day.
I got tired of waiting for you at the library, so I decided to come down here so I could see you even sooner.
That earns me a hug and a kiss on the cheek.
I love you. Have I mentioned that?
Once or twice, but I don't think I'll get tired of hearing it.
Yeah, I don't think she's mentioned it hardly at all.
Good, because I don't get tired of saying it.
Aspen links her arms with mine, snuggling against my shoulder. Normally when someone gets so close to me, or touches me, my first instinct is to jump away, but not with Aspen. It's only the first day, but I've surprised myself with just how much I've been enjoying being Aspen's girlfriend. If she hadn't told me her feelings, I probably would have never would have realized my own. Once I opened myself up to the idea, I realized that almost all of my favorite memories are with Aspen. When I'm with her, I just have fun. Being around her cheers me up, even if I was in a good mood to begin with. I wonder if it's the same for her. I hope so, since just being myself has always seemed to make her laugh and smile. I would have never imagined that I'd be able to do that to someone. That they could feel that way about me, or that I could feel it too. Never been so glad to be wrong.
So, what do you want to do now?
Well, I need to go home to change and take care of the cats. Would you like to come over? I can make us dinner later too, if you haven't eaten yet.
Sure! Even if I had, I'd make room for that.
It's settled then, shall we?
Oh, they're so moving in together. I think maybe they'll end it around there. Arm in arm, Aspen proudly leads the way to her apartment. The moment she starts to unlock the door, the sound of meowing, scratching claws from the other side starts up.
They're excited to see you too, huh?
I don't know, she'll probably need to get a bigger bed. Or maybe not, depends on how close they want to be.
Excited to be fed, more like. Scooch, boys.
The cats run around underfoot as Aspen steps inside with me falling behind. As soon as they notice me, the meowing stops and they both scurry away.
Aw, how rude.
You'd better get used to Miho, you two. You're going to be seeing her around a lot more.
There's Aspen, I remember, where she's like scolding. Aspen puts her hands on her hips and talks sternly to the sulking cats. They both meow in frustrated response until Aspen sighs.
Yes, yes, now let's get you fed.
She grabs a jug of cat food from the top of the fridge. The rattling sound makes the cats brave enough to run past me and go harass Aspen some more.
Go ahead and make yourself at home, Miho. I'm going to take care of them and then freshen up, so I'll be a minute.
Okay, take your time.
I sit down on the edge of Aspen's bed, doing my best not to disrupt the neatly made sheets. Aspen sets the bowl of cat food on the floor near the door, and the cats position themselves so they can watch me while they eat. Rolling her eyes, Aspen steps over them towards the restroom.
So dramatic. I wonder who they get that from. Anyway, be right back.
It isn't long before the sound of the running shower starts. I look around the apartment, paying closer attention than the last time I was here. Because it's so small, it feels like there's something of Aspen's personality in every corner. From the glittering lights strung across the ceiling to the stuffed animals in the bed behind me. I recognize some of the books on the shelves and the desks in the library. I'm sure there's a story behind each and every decoration. I'll probably hear more than a few of them eventually. After the cats finish eating, they skulk into the room and sit down across from me, glaring. Wonder if something about my ears and tails makes them mad.
Guess what?
She just has to flex on him. Like, hey, I'm a fox, by the way. Transform into a fox right in front of them, spreading my tails out like a fan. I don't growl or anything, but I lock eyes with each cat in turn. Immediately, they both yowl and run for the bed, tripping over each other as they rush to hide, fur puffing out like clouds. Wow, that was a little mean to do to the cats. Cackling myself as I change back and sit down again. Cats are always fun to tease, so some opportunities are just too good to pass up. Before long, Aspen comes out looking refreshed. She surveys the room just like I did.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I guess there's not a whole lot to do here, is there?
It's fine. Wasn't that long. I was just being nosy and admiring all your stuff.
Be as nosy as you'd like. I'm going to start on dinner.
Okay. Let me know if you need any help.
Thanks, but just the company is enough. It won't be anything very fancy. I'm much better at making drinks than food.
Don't you make food at the Bell House too?
Not really. We have bakers who come in earlier than I do to prepare most of it. I just have to heat things up and serve them.
Wow, at least you have people that come in, prepare the food in the first place. I feel like most companies probably just get it sent to them. They just have like a factory that makes stuff, and then they do, as she said, the last part where they just heat and serve them.
Unlike our beverages, which I make from scratch. Speaking of which, would you like some coffee or hot cocoa? I'll be making some for myself.
Sure. I'll have whatever you have.
That's easy enough. Now let's see.
Aspen moves around that tiny cooking area. Calling it a kitchen would be a stretch, with the same kind of graceful confidence that I've seen her use when working at the Bell House. I guess some of the tasks are the same. She starts to fill a pitcher of water from the sink while scooping coffee grounds in the machine at the same time. When the pitcher's ready, she swaps out with another pot, this one for cooking. That fills up while she finishes getting the coffee set up and brewing. Then she starts pulling ingredients out from a few cabinets that line the cooking area.
What are you gonna make?
I'm not really sure what it's called. It's a dish Mum used to make. It was one of the first things I learned how to cook, because it's always reminded me of home. And it's easy to make.
I wish she would have talked more about how meeting with her parents went, because she kind of like built it up to be like this kind of nervous thing.
Is there anything like that for you? A meal that tastes like home?
But understandably, we found out she wasn't really nervous about going home. She was nervous about other things, which is okay.
Nah, not really. Julie asked me that before too. I don't know if I ever had a full meal while I was in Korea, since I just stole what I needed to survive.
Oh, right. I should have remembered that you
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a different upbringing. Aspen bites her lips, looking unsure of how to phrase whatever she's gonna say.
Lived like that? It's fine. I don't mind talking about it. Especially not with you.
If you're sure, I don't want to bring up anything that's difficult for you to talk about.
Don't worry. You won't. There's nothing like that, honestly. Most of it just blurred together over time, so be as nosy as you want.
I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
The pile of ingredients Aspen stacks up has pasta, a few different kinds of vegetables, and a few different cans.
Would you mind giving me a hand, actually? Do you think you could chop up these vegetables for me?
Sure! Just show me how.
Oh, don't cut off your finger. Aspen demonstrates how to hold the knife, and then covering my hand with hers guides me through the motion to cut the vegetables.
Don't worry too much about making them all the same size. Close enough is fine.
That's good. Because I think same size might be impossible.
In the time it takes me to chop up a couple zucchini and onions, Aspen takes care of everything else.
Are these ready?
As they'll ever be.
Pass the cutting board to Aspen, being careful not to spill. In the end, most of the chunks didn't even turn out the same shape, much less size. But Aspen tosses them into a hot pan anyways, and before long a delicious aroma fills the room.
That smells amazing.
Hopefully it'll taste good too.
Yeah. Just because something smells good does not mean it will taste good. That's for sure. I don't have any doubts myself, but I don't think Aspen will be satisfied until the dish is done. Since she seems focused on watching the sauteing veggies and boiling pasta, I don't talk, so I don't distract her. A few minutes later, Aspen combines everything into one pan, mixing it all together with a wooden spoon. She dishes out a couple spoonfuls onto a pair of plastic plates and hands me one along with a fork.
Well, bon appetit. I wish there was a table we could sit at. I usually just eat at my desk. You can have that spot, and I'll take the bed.
That's fine. I can sit on the floor.
The floor?
Yeah, it's where I watch TV in my room too.
I'll join you then.
There you go. That's a cute little date night. Have some dinner, sit on the floor, just enjoy each other's company. We both settled down on the ground, setting our plates in our laps, noticing something. Aspen leans to the
Percy?
side.
Byron, what are you two doing back there?
I lean over to peek under the bed too. 4 angry green eyes stare at me from the farthest darkest corner. Feigning innocence, I sit back up.
Huh. Wonder what their problem is.
Yeah, I wonder.
I
Crazy.
guess they're just not used to having company. It's been a long time since they've met anyone aside from you and Juliet.
That must be it.
Yeah. Wow, still a troublemaker. I don't mention that I might have something to do with it too, but hey, the cat started it. Wow. Grabbing my fork, I turned my attention back to dinner, trying to make sure to get a little bit of everything in my first bite. It's still hot off the stove, so I have to blow on it to cool it off. Aspen watches anxiously while I chew, waiting to start eating her own meal.
Well, how is it?
Whoa. This?
Now I need to find a better way to describe it than usual.
It's delicious.
Really? Oh, I'm glad you think so.
Really, really.
The food itself was good, but it tastes even better knowing that Aspen made it. I scarf down my whole plate and then get up for seconds. After cleaning my plate for the second time, I finally set it aside along with my fork.
Did you have enough? There's still more if you want.
I'm good. Thanks, though. That was seriously great. Thanks for making it.
I'm just happy to hear you enjoyed it. It's been ages since I've cooked for anyone other than myself.
It's one of the best meals I've ever had.
That just means you need to have more good meals. There are lots of restaurants here in Welly that I've wanted to try, but didn't want to go alone. Maybe we can visit some of those together.
Oh, I'm sure you guys will have plenty of time to do that.
Sure. I'm not sure if I'd like any of them as much as this, though.
Laughing, Aspen puts her plate aside, scoots closer to me. Laying her head on my shoulder again, her hands find mine on the floor. She loosely wraps her fingers around mine.
I keep thinking I'm getting used to you flattering me, but I still love it every time.
It's true. I'm just saying what I think.
I know. That's one of the things I love about you. One of many, many things. I've never felt anything but ordinary, as much as I'd like to. And as much as I'd like to pretend I wasn't. But you You really do make me feel otherwise. I'm so happy I met you, Miho. I hope you don't get tired of hearing that.
Never.
Even though things have changed so much, the morning routine is more or less the same. The three of us chit-chat about our lives, mundane things, until we finish eating. After pushing her empty plate away, Aspen leans in.
So, Miho, there's something I've been thinking about.
I told you guys what this is gonna be. You know.
And I understand if this is something you wouldn't even want to consider, but have you ever thought about finding a way to stop your magic?
Never mind. Not what I thought about at all. I thought she was gonna ask her to move in. I just thought that was a natural progression, you know? Like, you want to be together all the time? You want to eat dinner every night? Just move in, you know? Might be a little bit hard. Maybe they'll get a new place together. Maybe Aspen will end up taking either the new position as far as running her own store, her own bell house, or maybe her book will come in and maybe she'll be a famous author. Juliet also turns to look at me, putting me on the spot.
Not that I can remember. That's like asking if you've thought about finding a way to stop your nose from working.
Huh.
I see. I thought that might be the case.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard of such a thing either. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I was just thinking about the other day and about how dreadful it all was to go through.
I definitely think this is something they have to kind of consider, because it would be hard being able to be away. And this is something I've wanted them to do, kind of find a way to solve the problem of having to be with each other all the time, you know?
Of course, I don't want to speak for Miho. I know it's much more complicated than just that, but I thought I might bring up the idea, at least.
You've got a point. Not having to worry about people forgetting me would be a huge relief.
Yeah.
Right. I thought you might agree.
I look at Juliet expecting her to give an opinion, but she doesn't offer one. It's true that life would be a lot easier without my magic. Well, half true. This life would be easier, but the life I used to lead, I couldn't have survived without it.
Well, it's purely hypothetical right now anyway. For all we know, it might be impossible. So no need to think about it too much.
It's worth thinking about, though.
The only two people who actually remember me are in this room right now. All the other people I met here in Welly, I couldn't really call them my friends as much as I'd like spending time with them. Every time we see each other is the first time as far as they're concerned. Maybe that wasn't so bad when I was still on the fence about whether I'd even want to stay in town or not. Now that I've been here a while, long enough to build something worth missing, I wish I could make those connections into something more secure. Even if there's nothing I can do about my magic, I can at least try to figure out a way to maintain friendships with others too, not just Aspen and Juliet.
It couldn't hurt to find out, right? It's not like I have to go through with it or anything if I don't want to.
Exactly. Simply being informed is never a bad idea.
I agree, Aspen.
So, does that mean you have an idea?
Well, not quite. But I'd be happy to start doing some research on the topic. If we're going to find anything, it's likely to be in a book. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's reading.
That's very true.
Good luck with that. Let me know what I can do to help.
I'd be glad to lend a hand as well. Perhaps I could find someone who'd be knowledgeable about Miho.
Yeah, I think Juliet should have some good connections.
Myth and folklore are often at odds with reality, so it can be difficult to discern what's true and what isn't.
Someone who'd know about Gumiho, huh?
One person comes to mind, but I'm not sure how willing she'd be to help. I still haven't mentioned the other Gumiho I've met to Aspen and Juliet. In my head, I've started calling her Silver. Just feels wrong somehow. If someone had told other people when I was around, I would have been furious with them. It would have made hiding and stealing a lot harder too. As a fellow Gumiho, I've kept Silver's existence a secret from everyone else so far. So wow, we're actually gonna... Are we gonna like dive into the Silver Girl? That's crazy. I realize there's a lot of stuff they really haven't like covered yet. I guess this ending is gonna be a lot longer than I thought, because it kept seeming like they're like, oh, we're gonna end it right here, we're gonna end it right here. I'm guessing there's going to be quite a bit of content in this, which I'm more than happy about. I just assumed they were going to kind of end it off early and call it there, but it looks like they're really going to like flesh out a lot of these things that they've been building up, which is great. There could be a whole community of Gumiho here in Wellington. I have no idea. I don't think that's the case, though. Yeah, because I would love to see Aspen either, like, manage another Bell House or be able to just take off her writing career. I think both of those would be nice. I'd really like it if they fleshed it out more. Besides, Silver seems unhappy enough with one intrude on her territory as it is. Maybe that's something else I can ask her. I don't know when or where, but somehow I know I haven't seen the last of her. For now, I just sit back and listen as Aspen and Juliet discuss various books and theories to start with. I feel like I should be more involved, it's my magic after all, but this is one area where I really can't contribute. I can't stay out of it forever and let them take care of me again, though. I have to try something of my own, too. I can't just refuse to participate in my own future. As it gets closer to time for Aspen to leave, Juliet checks the clock and then stands up.
Off to bed?
Not yet, actually. Would you mind staying just a moment longer, Aspen? I have something I'd like to give Miho. It's somewhat related to what we were just talking about.
Oh, no, I don't mind.
They're gonna be a phone. I was thinking that she probably needs a phone. It'd be nice to be able to communicate, and then she can also use it to look up information.
For me? What is it?
You'll see. I'll be right back.
Disappearing upstairs, I hear Julia enter her study for a moment before returning with a small, nicely wrapped box.
There's no particular occasion, but still, I felt like wrapping it.
Juliet hands me the package, which I take carefully. It's not heavy, but it's not light either. I take it over and over, examining. Turn it over and over, examining. I've never had a gift before. Clearing her throat, Aspen seems a bit impatient.
Don't just keep us in suspense.
Okay.
I tear off the paper that Juliet so beautifully wrapped the package with, revealing.
Oh. Wow.
It's a phone. Okay, finally I get something right. I've been wrong about a few things like this episode, so I'm glad at least one of them I get right.
It's the same as Aspen's.
What a coincidence, right?
I consulted Aspen to make sure I got the same one. I thought it would be best if she can help show you how to use it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
I'm a little behind the times on things like devices.
As gently as I can, I open the box and take out the phone itself. It's sleek and shiny and cold to the touch. I hold it in both hands to make sure that I don't drop it.
Thank you. Really. This is the nicest thing I've ever owned.
Think nothing of it. As you have more loved ones and responsibilities, it's important that you be able to stay in touch. In fact, that was what gave me the idea in the first place. Like Aspen, I'd also been thinking about your magic and the ways that it might work. So I wonder, would seeing someone in a video call serve to refresh someone's memory of you? Or is it necessary to see each other in person?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's the thing too, though. It's just like, you'd want to be able to test that out, but if you test it out, you might end up having that person forget you, so it's probably not worth trying.
I can't believe I never thought to ask that before.
Neither Aspen nor I would want to gamble our memories of Miho in case it turns out not to work. So we need
we
to
could just
find
test on
someone
somebody
else
else,
to
Dal.
participate in our little experiment.
That's why Juliet's smart, okay?
With
I didn't
that
think of
in
that.
mind, I'm not sure who to ask. It's a harmless trial, but still a bit much to ask of a total stranger.
Someone willing to try something weird without hesitation. I'll text Lena.
That's the perfect person. I still want to know what's gonna happen with her guy. We still haven't figured that out. I mean, it's been like since episode 2 where we were kind of watching to see what would happen there. Well, Aspen does that, I stare at the device in my hands. Could something so small really solve so many of my problems? It wouldn't be a perfect solution, but it'd be a lot better than nothing if this works. Even if not, I won't let that change my earlier decision to find some way to be remembered by the people I'd met. Just like researching my magic, I can't leave everything to someone else or hope for an easy way out.
Alright, Lena says she's willing to give it a go. I told her I'd explain more when I saw her. Usually you'd think those would happen in the other order, but this is Lena we're talking about.
Miho, would you like to come down to the Bell House to see her with me now? Sure. As long as Juliet doesn't mind me leaving the library.
By all means. I'm eager to see if this works as well.
So it's settled then. Shall we be off, Miho?
I do like how, even though Aspen and Miho are kind of together, and I don't know what Juliet's feelings are towards Miho. I don't know if that's something that we kind of build once we start more going into her route and her side of things. Or maybe if she's had feelings all along, kind of like Aspen too. I have no idea, but it's nice that as a friend, she's being so supportive of them. And still tries to go out of her way to do nice things. She's just a genuinely nice person. Lena's waiting outside of the Bell House when we arrive.
Morning, boss!
Hey, Lena.
So, you're the person with the weird memory thing, right?
Yep, that's me.
I've already introduced myself to Lena more times than I can count. Still, what's one more? This will be a great start to my new goal of making sure the other people I've gotten to know don't keep forgetting me.
I'm Miho. We've met before, actually. At tennis and at the Bell House and a few other times, too.
Ah, okay. Makes sense to me. So how do we do this?
She's just like, okay, whatever you say.
Really? That's it?
What you mean?
I would have thought you'd take more convincing than that. I guess I'm not surprised, but...
Nah, it lines up. I remember doing all those things that Miho mentioned, but I couldn't think of who I was with. Now I can stop trying to remember that and devote that brain power to something else.
I'm gonna devote all 2 brain cells to something else now.
Yes, well, I'm sure you'll need it. So, let's see.
I've missed this so much. Where Aspen just kind of craps on Lena.
I just need to get Miho's number, right? And then video call her tonight?
Right. Any time should be fine as long as it's before this time tomorrow. Miho can come with me again in the morning, and we'll see if you know who she is.
You got it! I'll try extra hard to remember her.
I'm not sure it works like that, unfortunately. I wish it were that simple.
Maybe it is, and you just didn't try hard enough.
Placing a finger on either temple, Lena closes her eyes and hums deeply.
Does that help?
Shh, don't interrupt.
Lena's been one of my favorite characters since very early on. She's hilarious. Lena hums for a little longer, then opens her eyes with a wink and a thumbs up.
Okay, got it. Of course it helps. It's my secret technique.
Ah, okay. The secret technique.
Whoa! If it works, then maybe you can teach Aspen too.
I think I'm alright, actually.
I feel like Aspen just wants to say that Lena's stupid, but she won't do it.
But what if it's really useful?
That's a very big if.
Whatever. You'll see tomorrow when I remember all of this. Anyway, Miho, what's your number?
It's,
I pull out the phone Juliet gave me, inspecting it closely.
I'm not sure where it is.
Shouldn't it be written somewhere? I look around the edges trying to find anything that seems fitting. You're gonna have to go into the phone. You're gonna have to use it.
Let's do this instead. Miho, may I see your phone?
I hand the device to Aspen, who swipes one finger up and begins to quickly tap the screens.
Whoa, you're a pro at this. Juliet's a lot slower whenever she uses hers.
I'm not sure that Juliet's the right standard. She still prefers a landline when she can. Okay, here. I saved Lena's number for you, Miho. Now you can call her so she can save your number.
Right.
Like I'm just like, okay, I totally understood everything you just said.
Okay, let's see.
Taking my phone back, I try to remember how to do that. Lena comes and watches from behind Aspen.
New phone?
New phone? Who dis? Moving away, Aspen brushes imaginary dirt off her shoulder.
You're in my bubble.
That's the same kind Aspen has, right?
Yup. This is the first phone I've owned.
Wow, really? So then, how do you check Triller or Space Face?
I've heard a lot of imaginary names. I'm still surprised I'm hearing new ones. New ways to say Twitter, new ways to say Facebook all the
What
time.
are those?
Very creative. Triller. Stumbling backwards, Lena seems like she's at a loss for words, which might be a first for her. I guess she does have something in common with Aspen.
Wow, you really do have a lot of catching up to do. I'll help you get set up when I call you. It's like, you can't not have a Triller, even though it's terrible, I hate it, but you have to have it. Space Phase, I don't know about. Everyone you...
Okay, I think that's enough, Lena.
Oh, you never let me finish talking!
That's because you won't finish for yourself.
You never would finish talking if I didn't stop you.
Exactly.
That's not true!
I like how Aspen just seems like she genuinely hates Lena sometimes. For a second, Lena seems pretty serious, but then she thinks about it for a second.
Well, maybe a little,
Hey, at least she has enough, like, self-awareness to recognize it.
but just a little.
Just a little.
Anyway, it's fine. I'll tell Miho when I talk to her tonight. See you guys later!
I'm going to be in there with you in like 2 minutes.
That's later, isn't it?
This whole conversation is 200 IQ. Lena flaps her wings proudly as she walks into the Bell House.
You let her win, huh?
Sometimes it's better to just let her go. But I'm glad she said she'd help out. She's a mess, but she sticks to her word at least.
You two seem pretty close.
Do we? We started working here at the same time, so we spent a lot of time together. You've spent more time with her outside the Bell House than I have, though. She can be a lot, but she comes through when it matters. Like with this.
I wonder how things would have been different. Because weren't the events where we ended up going and meeting with her, weren't those optional? I wonder if we, like, didn't go through with those, how that would have changed things. I don't know, though. Maybe they weren't
before
optional.
messaging her that she'd be willing to help out. It's just how she is. Don't you dare tell her I said that, though.
Stepping towards the Bell House door, Aspen turns to say goodbye to me.
Well, it's my least favorite time of the day. Time to say goodbye.
It's not too late to ditch work and hang out with me instead.
Believe me, it sounds more and more tempting each day.
That just means I have to keep trying. I should probably get back to the library too, though.
Yes, don't let me keep you. As much as I'd like to.
We come together for a quick kiss. I like this new routine of doing that every time we say goodbye.
I'll see you tomorrow then.
Of course! You know where to find me.
Good. I hope you have a wonderful day, Miho. I love you.
I love you too. Have a good day at work.
I'll do my best.
Oh, you little lovebirds. Aspen walks inside the bells over the door, trying to make they're happy to see her. Wait until the door fully closes behind her and she disappears from sight before I head out on my way. It's almost bedtime when my phone finally buzzes, startling me and almost making me drop my phone on my face. Done that a few times, it hurts. Lena's name pops up and I tap what I hope is the right button.
Hello? Miho? Can you hear me? It's Lena.
Her face fills a screen, making it pretty easy to see who it is. I wiggle the phone around, trying to make it point at my face. Problem is, it's reversed, so I keep confusing myself. How does Aspen use this thing so much?
Hi! I see you! Can you see me?
Yep. Hi!
She waves the camera with her free hand. I have to sit up to do the same thing.
Thanks for calling. This is gonna be a big help.
No, yeah, no problem. Sorry I've forgotten you so many times. I know I'd be totally upset if people couldn't remember who I was. It's like, hello? How can you forget me?
That's true. It'd be very hard to
That's
forget,
alright.
Lena.
I'm pretty used to it by now.
Yeah, but still, it's gotta suck. I've got an idea, though. I'll just call you like this every night, and that way I won't forget you, right? If this works out, I mean.
Well, perfect. That's what we wanted.
Yeah. If it works. I really, really hope it does. Still, every night?
Even if the phone makes it a lot easier, that's a lot of phone calls to make forever. Funny how that word keeps getting in my way.
Yeah, it's no big deal, though. I mean, I'm always on my phone before I go to bed anyway, so I can just make calling you part of my routine, like brushing my teeth and stretching. Ever since I quit ballet, I have more free time, so I can fit it in. That way I won't forget to do it. That would be kind of funny if I did, though. Not like funny, but funny like ironic. I think that's how you use that word. Aspen always tells me I'm wrong, though. Actually, speaking of Aspen...
Elena goes on to tell me a story about work today, which turns into a story from work from the day before. She goes on like that for a little while. I try to smile and laugh when it seems appropriate, but my arm is starting to get sore from holding up my phone like this. Finally, she runs out of steam and yawns, switching into sleep mode in seconds.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny. I'm gonna go to bed now. I'm super tired. You're coming to the Bell House in the morning, right?
Yup. I'll be there with Aspen.
Okay, see you soon then. I hope. Well, I'll see you either way. But I hope I remember you. Sorry if I don't.
That's fine. Thanks for trying. Good night.
I try to figure out how to hang up. My finger hovering over the screen like I'm about to squish a bug. Fortunately, Elena does it first, and that ends the call for both of us. I lay back down in bed with my phone in my hand. Sorry, I'm like having trouble. It isn't heavy, but it's definitely a big deal. If this works out with Lena tomorrow, it could change everything for me again. Not sure if Lena really thought about what she was getting into when she said she'd call me every day. Same goes for Aspen and Juliet, of course. Sure, all of them mean it when they promise, but those are really hard promises to keep no matter who's making them, even though they're all willing to go through so much trouble for me. Okay, so I think if this works out... Sorry. I think if this works out, then maybe she'll be able to move over and live with Aspen. Because I didn't think about that when I kept saying that, oh, they're probably going to move in together. Because then they still have to see Juliet every day, and they're already meeting there anyway, so it just makes sense that they would kind of meet there. But it'd be pretty hard if they had to make sure that they're always with Juliet. Odds are, at some point, at least one of them will eventually miss a day, and that'll be that. No second chances, even if we started over, it would never be exactly the same. With my other hand, the one that isn't holding the phone, I reach up and grab my necklace, feeling the warmth of my bead. It's been a big pain lately, but for such a long time, my magic was my most useful tool. My secret weapon, as much as hiding and scavenging as I did before, would have been 10 times worse if any of my crimes had followed me. Well, I think she's so used to using her magic that she doesn't realize that if she didn't have it in the first place, she would have built probably... I mean, well, she would have still been a fox, but, like, let's say she had became a human and didn't have this magic, and she would have had to just build meaningful relationships from the beginning. It would have been hard, but it wouldn't have seemed like this as time went on. We would have got more used to it. Are those days really past me now, permanently? Aspen's idea about stopping my magic is interesting, but I can't get it out of my head. Being able to be remembered by everyone I care about is the #1 thing I could ask for right now. But will it always be that way? Say there was a way that I could change things, make it so people didn't forget about me. What if it wasn't possible for me to change my mind later? Sure, it sounds nice in the moment, but forever is a long time. I keep being reminded of that. I took my necklace up so that I can see the bead, still has a soft white glow to it. I wish I knew what it meant. I wish I knew what any of it meant or how it worked. I wish I didn't have to deal with these questions and problems of all the forms for my magic to take. It had to be the confusing one. Gripping my bead in my fist, I yank my necklace off my neck and hurl it away from me. It clatters and rattles as it hits the wall, then the floor, lying like a snake in the darkness. Closing my eyes, I silently count in my head. 1, 2. There's no flicker or pop in my necklace, or pop as my necklace reappears around my throat as if it had never left. The bead hasn't changed at all, not that I expected it to. Sighing, I roll over onto my side, not tired enough to sleep, but not feeling like doing much either. This necklace has felt like a lot of things before. A comfort, a memento, a guide. It has been one constant since the beginning. Right now, heavy against my pillow, it feels like an anchor. It's an interesting way of putting it. Like always, the next morning, I'm cheered up by seeing my friends. Well, you guys, I think we're gonna end it here, because I'm actually really glad. I kept thinking that this was gonna be a really short ending, and from the impression I'm getting, it seems like it's gonna be much more fleshed out. We're gonna be able to solve a few loose ends, which will be interesting. I'm curious to see how Aspen's route will be different from Juliet's, especially because they're actually like gonna put a lot of effort into them, which I mean, I just didn't really expect it. I feel like a lot of games just kind of end once they get their kiss and their happy end. They kind of talk about a little bit after story stuff. This is going full into it, which is really exciting, and I'm curious to see how the rest of it turns out. So we'll save that for the next episode. Have a good one, you guys.